The minute we are born and inhale our first breath of fresh air, we are welcomed into a world filled with opinions. Some you'll agree with and some you'll disagree with, but everyone is entitled to one. When we are first brought into this world, we know no morals, and our actions are purely the result of our instincts. As we begin to spend more days on Earth, surrounded by countless people with thousands of opinions, we slowly begin to develop our own opinions based off influences around us. We are influenced on what to wear, how to talk, how to behave, what to listen to, what to look like, and even what to eat. Right now, as you are watching this video, you are naturally going to be influenced by what I'm about to say. Whether or not you choose to agree with it is your choice. Growing up, we are taught that cow's milk is good for your bones and that it's a great source of protein and calcium. Red meat is crucial to get enough iron and B12 in, and fish is important for its omega-3 fatty acids. But what if I told you that you can obtain all of these by only consuming plant-based food? Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm not a cow. I won't eat grass. But technically, you are eating grass. The only difference is that you are eating it through a middleman, the animal. For example, the only reason beef is high in iron is because of the plants the cattle consume during their time alive. That then remains in the meat and is consumed by you. I'm sure we're all somewhat aware of slaughterhouses, factory farms, and the process of the meatpacking industry, and if you are not, then you can search for videos of the devastating conditions livestock are kept in. But okay, let's say you don't care. You don't care for animals, and fuck it, they taste good. It's Friday evening, you've had a long week, you're exhausted, you go into the supermarket, you're standing at the meat section, and your eyes are fixated on all the options in front of you. Wow, a pack of 2 steaks for only $4.99? Nice. What a steal. Let's talk about your health. You may be stealing the animal's life, but it's also stealing yours. Listen, I'm not here to be a preachy vegan, but there are some things that I've discovered along my journey that were so shocking to me that I feel the need to share them with you. Let's rewind all the way back to 2015. This was the year I decided to try cutting out meat completely because it kept making me sick.
The main reason why I stopped eating meat was because I got sick from it a lot. I got food poisoning like 3 times from chicken, and I used to love chicken so much. But then I realized it's so easy to not eat meat. I'm thinking of quitting fish soon, but it's a bit hard because I'm like obsessed with salmon.
I was a massive fan of chicken nuggets, so the idea seemed absolutely daunting to me. But I set myself a challenge of 3 months to see if I could do it. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm no loser, so I did it.
What do you dip a chicken nugget in? I'm a vegetarian, well, pescatarian, but I don't eat meat. Therefore, I would not dip my chicken nugget in anything. I would dip it in the bin.
And then I thought to myself, well, if I could do it so easily for 3 months, why not just continue? Fast forward to 2018, and I had now gone 3 years without eating meat. However, I was still consuming fish, dairy, and eggs. That's around the time when my skin completely started to change. I developed cystic acne all over my face, and my entire skin flared up within a month. I was utterly shocked, and naturally I panicked. Anyone who is going through acne or has been through it before will understand exactly how I felt. It was devastating. I did everything I could to try and cover it up. At one point, my makeup was so thick that if I accidentally scratched my face, a ton of foundation would remain under my nail. Yes, it's gross. I know, but that was my reality. I hated putting makeup on because it made me feel even worse. All I wanted was to have clear skin, but I had no idea how to achieve it. Now, your skin is usually a representation of what's going on inside your body. Acne is usually a sign that something internally isn't quite right, whether that's an underlying condition or something you're consuming that your body isn't agreeing with. It needs to be recognized. A lot of people have issues with digesting dairy, and their bodies tend to reject it through symptoms such as acne, gas, diarrhea, or even vomiting. This is typically known as lactose intolerance. Now, according to PubMed, over 60% of the human population is intolerant to lactose, which, I mean, it's directly telling you something. We should not be consuming it. That's when I decided to cut out all dairy products. And of course, soon after, my skin naturally started to clear up. Now let's look at the year 2020. I think it's fair to say that most of us were struggling and were probably at a very low place a lot of the time. But even when things started going back to being relatively normal, my mental health was horrible. I won't get too into it, but let's just say that some days it was a struggle to even just get out of bed. At the beginning of 2021, I set myself another challenge. I love doing that, don't I? I said to myself, I'm going to try and go fully plant-based and see what happens. And so I did exactly that. It's been almost 10 months and I only have one remark. I wish I had done it sooner. But okay, let's say you're doing perfectly fine and you feel great. Let's talk about our planet. If we all continue consuming so much meat and animal products, then we will be in big trouble by 2030. And that's right around the corner. Industrial meat causes deforestation to make more space for cattle ranching and to grow industrial animal feed. By destroying forests and using toxic pesticides, we are contributing to the extinction of thousands of species, and many of which we haven't even discovered yet. Imagine what kind of magical unicorn is lurking out there, and we will never know because we aren't even giving it a chance to live. We'd need 75% less farmland that we use today if everyone ate a plant-based diet. That's equivalent to the US, China, Europe, and Australia combined. And that's because it'll take less land to grow food, as the food grown will go directly to humans and not through the animal and then into the human. We rave about saving water, but what about the insane amount of water that is used just to make one beef patty? And should we quickly talk about the negative energy and toxicity you're consuming when eating a tortured animal? The pain and suffering, as well as a ton of antibiotics, go directly into your system. So it's no wonder that a lot of the time we feel unwell, have underlying problems, poor skin, and even issues with our mental health. Imagine feeling fine, but continuously stuffing yourself with medication and antibiotics. How do you think you would feel in a few years?
So let's have a quick chat about my blood and blood tests, because I feel like a lot of you are probably wondering, is your blood actually okay? How's it doing? Are you actually okay? Or are you just saying you're okay for the camera? Around half a year in, I decided to do a blood test to see how things are going. Am I doing okay? I felt fine, but you never know. Sometimes you could feel fine, and then a few weeks later or a couple of months later, it all hits you all of a sudden. So I went into a clinic, I got a blood test, I checked for iron, B12, and vitamin D3. D3 isn't directly related to veganism, I wouldn't say, because a lot of people who are not vegan have a lot of issues with their vitamin D3. So I got my results a few days later, and there were two, I wouldn't say issues as they weren't huge, but they were minor details that, you know, I had to take into consideration. The first thing was my vitamin D3 was a tiny bit too low. Again, this is not necessarily related to veganism, as non-vegans can also have insufficient vitamin D3. But the thing that was really odd is my B12. Most of the time when you go vegan, people are saying to you, you're gonna be insufficient in B12, be careful, you're not gonna have enough B12. But I had a huge amount of B12 in my system, like super high, and I was like, what is happening? I later discovered that you shouldn't take any supplements around 10 to 14 days before you do a blood test, which duh, I should have known that, but for some reason I didn't know or didn't think about it. So for 2 weeks I stopped taking my B12 supplement and I went in to do my blood work, again only for B12 this time around, and my B12 was perfectly normal, perfectly fine, everything was good. Usually iron is something that a lot of people are concerned about when they are thinking of converting into veganism, is they think they're going to have iron deficiency. Now the funny thing is, my iron was absolutely perfect to the T. So good, and I was shocked myself because I kind of have a, I don't want to say history of iron deficiency, but I've been deficient in iron around, I want to say 3 times before I was vegan. When I ate everything and anything, I had some bad times when my iron was very low, and I actually suffered from it and got pretty sick. So I thought, okay, now I'm vegan, it must be worse, but it was perfect. And I think the reason for that is because when I turned vegan, I told myself I have to do this properly, and I'm going to really educate myself and eat properly and really take time to nourish my body, feed it with what it needs. I was so afraid of being deficient in something that I was super strict on making sure that I get enough nutrients in everything and supplementing where I need to be.
Now, it's unrealistic and naive to expect every single person to magically convert to veganism, but that's not the point. The point of turning to a plant-based lifestyle isn't to be this perfect, preachy vegan that only eats salad and looks down on everyone in the meat section. Veganism can be so much fun and filled with some of the best food you've ever tasted. It's not about being perfect, it's about being open-minded and understanding that even the smallest steps can make a huge difference in so many ways. It's okay to be confused, to make mistakes, and to not know where to start. I was too. too, and it's taken me 6 whole years to fully convert. Everyone's timing is different, and that's okay. But you learn along the way, and you will start to absolutely love it. I promise. It's 2021. It's not difficult to convert. You just have to have the will to make a change.
So generally speaking, ever since I converted to veganism, I have felt really, really good. And I'm not just saying that, I really truly mean it. I have felt so positive. My mental health has kind of like blown up, and in a good way, I see things differently, I think differently. I started just to give myself a challenge, but after kind of going through this journey for such a long time, 10 months is a long time actually, it's almost a year. So after almost doing this for a year, I have realized why I'm actually doing it, and I've really educated myself on veganism and why people go vegan. It's not just a trend on the internet. There's a much deeper reasoning behind it, and I have become so passionate about it, and I don't ever want to be that annoying preachy vegan, and I hope that I do not come across like that, but I can also understand why there are annoying preachy vegans, because there is so much to it that is devastating when you find out if you've never known, because I didn't know. When I went into this, I didn't know eating cheese and drinking milk was actually harmful to the animal. I thought, okay, as long as you don't eat meat, you're good, but that's really not the case. My skin has cleared, my hair is shiny and glossy and beautiful, and I just feel so good internally, which for me is probably the biggest factor, is feeling good internally. I'm energetic. At the gym, I can really feel myself being able to push more and more. I just feel fucking great. And that's all I gotta say about that.